This podcast is hosted in collaboration with the Comsmith, the Peterborough podcast. We're sharing stories about why Peterborough is a great place to work, live, and play. Scott, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about why you're here, why we're here? Obviously, people will see that we are in ARU. You have a role to play within that. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Dr. Scott Steele. I work at ARU as a law lecturer and part of a very small team, as we've only been open for about 4 years. I'm also Employability Lead for ARU Peterborough and do everything with employability, law, competitions and everything along the sides.
Just before we go into the law aspect of it, what is it? Where's employability? For people who don't know what employability is, what does that mean?
So the whole concept, and this gets really down to the vision and goals of ARU Peterborough. We're a strategic and obviously brand new university. And as part of that employability aspect, we believe that everyone who comes for a degree or studies with ARU Peterborough, that they should go outside of university and be employable, so get jobs. So we really believe in our degree program and our teaching program. And when you come and study with us, at the end of that route, you will be able to get into meaningful employment that you want to be in, i.e. if you come and study law with us, when you go out, you will be a lawyer, a solicitor, a barrister, paralegal, legal executive. So we really build these core concepts into all of our programs, into making sure that not only the theory is learned, but we have that professional aspect, them soft skills, interviewing techniques, and we build around that employability aspect to really get the students a rounded form to make sure that they're employable when they get out.
Okay. So essentially then, it's not just a case of they do a course, you finish your 3 years, out the door you go. It's building up for that next step while they're here.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, from interviewing to competitions, to society to student-led approach, we're very much student-centric at ARU Peterborough, and that's something that we really sell, but we're really passionate about here.
Okay, no, that makes sense. So, so how did you get into law? Why law? Why are you interested in it? And how did you?
So law, it rather a checkered background. So when I first, I had an accident in 2007, which broke my back, became paralysed. And when I was working around about that from that age, I got a lot of discrimination for being in a wheelchair. So I thought there must be some kind of civil justice, natural justice. And I thought, well, why not understand my rights a little bit better? And as part of that, I went and done a law degree, went and done a master's, and then eventually a PhD before teaching and developing the next generation. So it was a real passion and a real fueling to really get them right out.
Life circumstance that
Very much.
set you in a path. And just on that then, was there enough justice for you? Did you find, were you happy with what you found?
It's a continuing road. And I think where I am in life now and looking at civil justice is that if you know it's fine, so obviously I know the law, I can challenge bodies and businesses, but there's also an aspect of society where I go, I wonder if a pensioner would be able to do this. I wonder if a student would be able to do this. I wonder if a single parent would be able to do this. And it really brings the passion on, and that's one of the passions about teaching law at ARU Peterborough, to really focus on the next generation, but also instill some of that civil justice in them and natural justice, so that they can go out and help their families, help their friends, help society, do some kind of pro bono work and actually give back to the community that we serve as a general. And hopefully that's what I'm instilling in some of my students.
Is it going in the right direction from what you said there? Yeah.
It's getting harder. It's getting harder, and without getting too political, it's changing every single day, and we've obviously got no continuity with politics or with law, and it is getting harder. But the best thing that we can do really is and give as much information out, outreach, helping out, doing volunteering, and hopefully we can sort of progress that together as a community, as a large.
I guess you must see some pretty frustrating things then.
Very frustrating things, very frustrating things. I mean, there is a lot of law that we just haven't reformed. There's a lot of things that the government has just obviously sat on and said that we're not progressing, or we're not doing, or it's not a priority for the sector. And I mean, one thing we can see with people with disabilities at the minute that are really getting hard done by, with taxes, with mobility, with the mobility scheme, and with obviously all the political issues that we currently find ourselves in. But that gets along with education as well. It gets along with work, pensions, student finance. Again, that's another big topical issue that we consider and speak to students about every single day, especially when new students come in the door in sort of September. The worry is that they're coming out with 30 to 60,000 pound of student loan, and trying to get them to understand that although it's a student loan that you will have to pay back, it's not typically like a student loan. So it's just the misinformation that's currently out there. And again, as part of an academic, part of the employability team and everything along the lines of that, it's just about educating. It's about educating on every single aspect.
I mean, obviously, talking about education, we are in a university in Peterborough. People may pick up a slight accent.
Yes.
So, how did you obviously come from the northeast? That is screamingly obvious, to Cambridgeshire. How did you? And what's your journey?
Yeah. So I mean, and I seen this roll up on a well-regarded website, and I started to look into ARU as a whole. It's not a university that I've been involved with previously. So as part of that, I had a look at obviously Cambridge. I had a look at the other campuses, and then I started to do a deep dive into ARU Peterborough. Found that it was a brand new university. Found that it was very distinct to what other universities are. Its strategic vision in comparison to other larger universities, and even ARU in general, is very distinct. So they focus on, again, that career-led, student-centric employability aspect of a degree. And one thing ARU Peterborough does is it doesn't have degrees or programs where there's no jobs in the area. So if there's no jobs in the area, there will not be a degree here,
It's almost pointless, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. And we want students to get jobs. What's the point of having a really nice 60,000 piece of paper on the wall that says you've got a first class degree if you can't get a job about it?
And you've got the debt with it as well.
Exactly. And that's something that really the strategic management here and the strategic plan, the vision, and all the senior leadership team and all of the staff are really passionate about. So it's really nice. So that I seen that it had a lot of vision that I had a lot of strategic goals. And after the interview, I really bought into the vision and the goals of what ARU Peterborough is, what it could be, and starting something nice and fresh. There's a lot of self-promotion in there as well, but there's also a lot of way to go to really put back into Peterborough, put back into the area, but make something special here.
Yeah, I can tell the passion from you, definitely. You like the area, like the city?
Yeah, so I moved here. So obviously with only teaching 6 months out of the year, I live in Peterborough 6 months out of the year, 6 to 8 months. And then obviously I go back to the northeast with family and everything. But yeah, love the area, love the people, really nice. Always get the comment, "Oh, you're northern," the Geordie aspect.
Sorry, I did that.
But yeah, I mean it is nice, and again, it's a nice commute from London to Cambridge, to see colleagues as well, all the way around the south, whereas up north there's that barrier to travelling 4 to 4 hours, 5 hours to get somewhere southern.
Some of your students just concluded a multi-year live brief.
Yes.
Tell us what that means, because that sounds very interesting. Tell us what it all entails.
Yeah, so I mean, ARU in its concept does something called the live brief every single year in multiple different years. It's normally catered at year 1, which are level 4 students, and year 2, which are level 5 students. And as part of the live brief, it's getting industry involved or someone with a problem to come in to where the students will interview the client and then solve the problem, whether that's drafting, whether that's writing something, plans, developments. And as this year, I found a really fantastic client, and I said, well, let's do something a little bit different. Let's do something bold, and let's do something that ARU across all of the campuses has never physically done before. So as part of that, I decided to take on the mammoth task of having year ones, year twos, and year threes deliver 8 areas of law with one client, 8 different issues, diagnosing it, breaking it down, presenting it, interviewing it. So it was a mammoth task to where it's never ever been done before in ARU. But the concept of having this physical and mental MOT effectively of one client, multiple problems, multiple issues, multiple development concerns, and having the students diagnose things from their year one, their year two, year three, bringing it all together, developing that industry lead, developing that student law community, and understanding really developing a problem. But also the year ones can learn from the year threes, the year twos from the year ones here. So it's that student focused learning, that research-led focused, and everything along the lines of that. And it was a really exciting event.
So I realise you might not be able to tell us exactly who the client is. Can you give us what the industry was that they were?
Yeah, so it was a brand new client. And I met the client through Small Business Britain, the Small and Mighty program, which I give lectures on for business law and contract law. So the client itself, she was setting up a new podcast along with other industries. She was a survivor of domestic violence, which again is really, I'm really passionate about, and it's a horrible area in that, but helping someone like that. Her story just sold me after first speaking to her, and she was really passionate about it, and she was telling me the story, and she was telling me her background. So in with that, she obviously had a brand new business. She had contracts, she was dealing with services, she was dealing with multi-parties, business structures, terms, conditions, contracts, IP, social media, everything from A to Z. And as she said, and to quote her, I've chat GPT'd it. That's what it is. Can't afford to buy a solicitor and stuff like that. So one of the best things for the students was to say, this is the brief. You are the experts in this area. Let's have some fun. Let's get into law firms. Let's create something really special and then do that major presentation back. But the client was absolutely fantastic. And this is the second client that I've got from the Small and Mighty program. And they all bring their very much different elements and different bits.
What a fantastic concept. Because next year it could be, I don't know, an agriculture company or I don't know, I'm just coming up with it, but it could be any, and the company itself benefits from people who might know a little bit about it, the industry, but might know nothing about it. Can you go in almost sort of blind and just pick up our questions that maybe never have been asked before?
So the previous year was an aerospace company.
Right.
So that's how much of a change it is. We just we get the best clients for the students. And again, anyone can offer. Obviously, ARU does it throughout the entire university. So again, we're not just restricted to that one. If we have 35 clients who want to be part of the live brief, we have multi-campuses, multi-different schools, multi-departments.
So some can do one, some can do it.
Yeah. We have a fantastic live brief team. My colleague John coordinates all of this with the employability team as well. And it just sells it for the students. It's that fun, practical element that industry really needs. And again, it's
real
above theory, it's a real life approach.
You mentioned the dreaded chat GPT
earlier
on. AI, I pretty much ask this now in every single podcast I do. The effect of AI on law, because I've seen scare stories about the fact that AI can do what a junior can do, the click of a finger. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a useful tool for some elements. It will never replace lawyers. It hallucinates case law. It doesn't understand legislation. Its drafting skills are weak to where my year one law students are better at drafting than ChatGPT or a Copilot or any other AI effect. It might get better, but again, we've been saying that Skynet would take over the world for generations upon generations, and yet it still hasn't kept up. There's only so many elements that humans can do. And I think being a lawyer is not about writing, it's not about drafting, it's not about that sitting down and writing. It's about that human connection. It's about giving that human advice. It's about having that client-centric approach to building that relationship and that development and coordinating them various different tasks and difficulties. And that's something that law has kind of skated over. We're in a service industry, and AI just can't keep up with service. You can't beat a telephone call. You can't beat a meeting, a discussion, a coffee. And unfortunately, unless we have live robots going out to every single home, we're somewhere along the lines of that. So not in my lifetime.
Okay, we don't really want the robots. And
No.
anyway, look, the example literally that you've just mentioned of a domestic abuse, you imagine doing that on impossible,
Yeah,
emotional.
you can imagine the generic.
Yeah.
AI has no emotions yet. It has no emotions. And if you listen from someone with domestic violence or social services case or child case or even a medical negligence or personal injury case, you need to be sympathetic and empathetic. You need to understand their problems, their plight without living it sometimes. And with that experience there, AI is generic. And without that, we can't. And that's something that we're really bedding into the students. And it's something we do at ARU Peterborough. We do problem-based and team-based learning. So as the part of the problem-based learning, every single student each week will get an individual task and then a group task. And that will be highly emotive to that area of law, whether that is domestic violence, whether that's abuse, whether that's contract law, whether that's IP commercial. And we give them a real task with a challenging client that often will swear, will be angry, will be upset, will be emotional, because that's what these students are going to have to do in practice. So I really am preparing them for them 12 weeks in each subject, in each element of law, to really then be able to go out and go, we did this at ARU Peterborough. I am better suited than all of my colleagues who went to other universities.
Better suited both in terms of knowledge and experience, but also emotionally to be able to engage with a particular client where it's a real situation.
Yeah.
Okay, that does make sense. So we mentioned employability earlier on. You have a roadshow as well. How does that work?
So this is my third event at ARU Peterborough. I've only been here 2.5 years so far. So the roadshow is a concept that I wanted to do for a while. And it's to deal with student engagement, but also bringing industry leaders in. What we do really well here is module leaders and course directors really building employability in. However, we're not the experts. Some colleagues are very good at experts for HR and law, etc. But as part of the L&T fund, the Learning and Teaching Fund, I applied for a small grant. And the concept was to create an event, a roadshow, to get 10 to 13 industry experts in from the street, from local Peterborough, Cambridge, to actually come in and educate our students on what makes them special, how to get jobs, what AI looks like, what social media, what is the need, CVs, LinkedIn, everything that you would normally do or need to do to get into employment, but also just to have a general chat to say, how do we make you special? How do we develop you into getting your degree, getting into your chosen career? And what should you start focusing on at this early stage in your career? That's the main concept. We have some absolutely fantastic people coming in. And luckily I get to sit there for 4.5 hours and just chip away at my emails. But yeah, it's going to be really fun to see all of the students, all of the experts get together, talk, develop, and just ask questions that are outside of us. Because some students think they know it all. Some students don't listen to academics and colleagues. Some will, but having another party just relay the same information that we do, hopefully that will just cement the bricks together and focus.
And when is the next one? How does it work? This is the third one you said.
Yeah. So this is the first employability roadshow, but the third event have all been named at the same time. So that is happening on April the 14th.
Okay.
And like I say, we have 13 industry leaders coming in and 50 students who are in attendance.
Excellent. Well, that sounds like a great event, and I'm sure the students afterwards are really appreciative that that is happening for them
Yeah,
to progress.
they've, like I say, they've loved every single event so far. It is a lot of work,
Yep.
but it is good to see the students all communicate, and again, building that student to student relationship. Some of these students are from nursing, some of these students are from midwifery, apprenticeships, biomedical science, law, business, marketing. So we have everyone talking together in one room with industry leaders who are going to then sell their skills and knowledge transfer, which is just something that students don't get in the larger universities.
Okay, great. So you've been shortlisted in the Academic Employability Award for 2026. Tell us about that. Tell us how that came about. That must be great for,
Yeah.
well, what a brilliant accolade that is.
It's a continuing thing. Like, colleagues keep putting me up for things, and then I've got to write stuff and do more work. But yeah, it is a real pleasure, and I'm really thrilled about it. And this was to do with the library for last year. So the library last year was a brand new concept in total. It was, instead of a multi-year, which we had this year, it was a dual year. So we had 2 issues, 1 year, and multiple different problems. And that's really where I've developed this year's library from. It's one of a kind. These awards are sort of a national recognition of multiple different universities, multiple different schools, academics, and colleagues, and having that authentic assessment, accolade, and acknowledgement of what I've done what I've done last year is something really special. And again, it builds on the approach of what I need to do next. These awards are really that evidence, so I can take to the senior leadership and take to the university and say, this is really well recognized. This is really thought about. Can we do more? Can we attract funding to do this? Should we be doing this? How far can we push this? And that's something that I'm kind of doing with these events and these live briefs into, okay, this is a success. I want to go one
What's the
step
next
further.
step? Yeah.
This is it. This is the next, and that's something that I'm really, really passionate about, and it's fun.
Yeah.
And if it's fun, it doesn't feel like work.
No, it just comes across in this podcast that one of the things you really like doing is setting challenges and getting people to think outside the box a little bit and be a bit more creative in their approach. Is that something, and you don't need to necessarily talk about your students here. Do you think that's something that maybe younger people aren't used to or have an issue with, or is it something they enjoy and savor the challenge? Or
I think I think you're 100% right. I think we're still dealing with the COVID students, and I think we're still dealing with the COVID students for another 5-6 years. But yes, before COVID, you had students that would come in and question, and it would be limited because of confidence and self-worth. But having my students come in from year one and literally saying, this is the plan, what do you think? And being more adaptable and being more forward and questioning every single aspect. I normally sit there and take the opposite side to everything that's said, simply to challenge them, because industry and work is like that. So even if a student is right, I will pick an opposite side. I will challenge perceptions, I will challenge opinions, presumptions, anything that I can to get that class talking, speaking, developing, and working together. And some of it's really uncomfortable. Some of it is challenging. Some of it is to do with race, disability, creed, religion, but it's done in a respectful way.
Yeah.
And it's done to really foster that safe environment, because in university, we should be a safe environment where students can express their opinions, they could talk, discuss, because if they get it wrong at university, it's me. I like to think I'm a lot easier than being out in industry. So if I can build their resilience in university, in the safe space, in the safe environment that I've developed, then when they go outside and they have a knockback, which we all know life happens, they'll be more resilient then to bounce back, develop, push forward, and carry on with their lives without going in a spiral of despair.
Yeah.
And that's something, again, it's about building them students to be all-rounded adults, them hard skills, them soft skills, to be able to develop what we want them to be. And again, training the next generation of lawyers, professionals is is key to why I'm here.
Okay. So the final question is, and it leads on really nicely from that. What's next? What's your ambitions? What's your ambitions yourself for here, for your student?
Again, I think everything is comparative and really rolled it together. We've just developed a new law program. So as part of that, when we obviously started ARU Peterborough, we had everything transferred over from ARU because we didn't have staff, it was brand new, and we basically adopted all of that. As part of the progression and development with ARU Peterborough, colleagues and I sat down over summer, it was a long summer, and said, what does an ideal law program look like? What does the best LLB look like? So as part of that, we've fostered in and developed, and it's just been approved, I think, Friday. So I can now speak about
Oh,
it.
only just
Yeah,
then.
it's
This is
brand new,
good. Hot off the press,
exclusive,
yeah.
exclusive. So we're bringing a pedagogical advancement into law, where we're bringing problem-based learning, team-based learning, focus on student ownership, and we're actually putting that into practice. These are not just buzzwords. All of the classes are going to be student-led, student-approached. We're having that knowledge transfer, but again, students are going to be having that device of creating their own law firm, creating their own logos, creating their own terms within that law firm. So again, if a student doesn't like another student, how do we deal with ADR? How do we work if something's not working? How do we develop that? A colleague's focusing on storytelling and bringing that narrative in there, and another colleague's focused on gamification and different tasks to do with that within law. Really, it's really exciting. We've developed the program as well, so we've got to have certain elements within there to have a qualifying law degree or a typical qualifying law degree, contract law, criminal law, etc. But we're bringing in international law, we're bringing in a number of different modules that will really excite the students and really say to the students, these are the key things you need to know. However, these are the interesting areas. This is what you could go into. This is what you could. And it's more again about elevating the students' understanding. So yeah, you can be a contract lawyer, but a human rights lawyer or a maritime law lawyer, or like me, a space lawyer, focusing on space law, looking at international law, looking at the roles and responsibilities, looking into charitable organizations, geopolitics, and all of these aspects. It's really about developing something different, new. It's not going to be the ideal. It's going to have to get building on. We're going to have to keep
Iterations of it, yeah.
Of course, 100%. And again, it's about being adaptable. It's about looking at the student bodies, seeing what they need, and hopefully within sort of the next 10 years at ARU Peterborough, we'll have more buildings, we'll have more campuses, we'll have more students, we'll have more staff. Hopefully we'll have more staff. But then we'll just be able to get bigger and we'll be able to grow into sort of mock courtrooms, law clinics, IP clinics, and really develop something special for Peterborough, but also something that can give back. And that's the vision that the university has always been. Yes, it's for the students. Yes, it's to bring top talent in here, but it's how we serve the community and how we give back to the community. And by, yes, training professionals into students to go out there to do volunteering, we need to bring the community in. And I think by that and by obviously the strategic plans into senior management, what they've got going, we're doing that. And we're really developing that at a fast rate into what we can offer and how we can serve the community in total.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you very much.